In the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled between rolling hills and a lazy river in upstate New York, lived a young nurse named Emily Thompson. Emily was 32, with soft brown hair tied back in a practical ponytail and eyes that held a gentle warmth. Even on the longest shifts, she worked at the local hospital, a modest building with white walls and the constant hum of machines. Life for Emily was a steady rhythm of caring for others, but lately, it felt like the weight of her own world was pressing down harder than usual. Emily's days started early. Before the sun peeked over the horizon, she would brew a pot of strong coffee in her small apartment, the kind with chipped mugs and a view of the neighbor's overgrown garden. Money was tight, her rent was due, and the bills from her mother's old medical treatments still lingered like shadows. Emily's mom had passed away 2 years ago from a long illness, leaving her with debts and a deep ache in her heart. To make ends meet, she picked up extra shifts, skipping meals sometimes just to save a few dollars, but she never complained. Nursing was her calling, a way to give back what the world had taken from her family. One rainy evening in late autumn, the hospital's emergency room buzzed with urgency. Thunder rumbled outside as Emily finished charting a patient's vitals. The doors burst open, and paramedics wheeled in a man on a stretcher. He was unconscious, his face pale under the fluorescent lights, blood soaked through his shirt from a car accident on the slick roads. Dr. Harris, the head physician, barked orders. "We need O-negative blood, stat. He's losing too much." Emily glanced at the chart. The patient was Alexander Harrington, 40 years old. No family listed in the immediate records. The blood bank was low as there had been a string of accidents that week. Emily knew her blood type matched. Without hesitation, she rolled up her sleeve. "I can donate," she said calmly. The other nurses exchanged looks, but Emily insisted. It was just blood, she thought. She'd given before, and this man needed it now. As the needle pricked her arm, Emily sat quietly, watching the red liquid flow into the bag. Her mind wandered to her own struggle the eviction notice tucked in her drawer at home, the way her car sputtered on cold mornings. But here, in this moment, she felt useful, purposeful. The donation took about 20 minutes, and soon the blood was rushing to the operating room. Emily felt a little lightheaded but waved off concerns. She grabbed a juice box from the break room and returned to her duties, the rain pattering against the windows like a soft lullaby. The next morning, the hospital corridors were calmer. Emily checked on patients, her white sneakers squeaking on the linoleum floors. In room 204, Alexander Harrington was awake, bandaged but alert. He was a tall man with dark hair streaked with silver, and sharp blue eyes that scanned the room with quiet intensity. Emily entered to adjust his fore, and he looked up, his voice hoarse. "Thank you," he said simply. Emily smiled. "Just doing my job, Mr. Harrington." He shook his head slowly. "Number." "They told me about the blood donation." A nurse gave it directly. "Was that you?" She nodded, feeling a flush creep up her neck. "It was nothing." "Glad you're okay." Alexander's expression softened. He wasn't just any patient, as Emily would learn later that day from whispered conversations in the nurse's station. He was the CEO of Harrington Tech, a big company in the city an hour away. He built software that powered hospitals across the country. Ironic, she thought, that he ended up in one so small. And he was a single dad. His wife had died in childbirth 5 years ago, leaving him with a daughter named Lily. Alexander rarely spoke of it, but the nurses had pieced it together from his emergency contacts. Emily didn't think much of it at first. Patients came and went, but as the days passed, Alexander stayed for observation, and their interactions grew. He asked about her shifts, her life in Willow Creek. Emily shared bits of how she loved the town's autumn leaves, the way the river whispered at night. She didn't mention her troubles. Not yet. One afternoon, as golden sunlight filtered through the blinds, Alexander's daughter arrived. Lily was a bright-eyed girl of 5, with curls like her father's and a stuffed bear clutched in her arms. She climbed onto the bed carefully, and Alexander's face lit up, all business melting away. Emily watched from the doorway, her heart tugging. It reminded her of her own childhood, before illness stole her family's joy. "You're good with kids," Alexander said later, when Lily had fallen asleep in the chair. Emily shrugged. "I have a niece. Plus, Hospitals can be scary for little ones. He nodded thoughtfully. Lily's my world, after her mom. It's just us. There was a pause, the kind that hung in the air like mist. Emily felt a connection, subtle but real. She excused herself. But something had shifted, the relatable problem in her life, the endless grind, the fear of losing her home. Felt a little less lonely. Alexander was discharged a week later. Emily helped with the paperwork, her hand steady as she explained his medications. He thanked her again, his eyes lingering. If there's ever anything I can do, he said, handing her a business card. Call me. She tucked it away, thinking it was polite talk. Back home that evening, Emily sat at her kitchen table, staring at the eviction notice. 2 weeks, that's all she had. Her shifts paid the bills, but not enough for a new place. Tears welled up, but she wiped them away. Tomorrow was another day. Weeks turned into a quiet routine. Winter crept in, blanketing Willow Creek in snow. Emily bundled up for work, her breath fogging the air. One evening, as she clocked out, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Hello, Emily? It's Alexander Harrington. Her heart skipped. He was calling to thank her properly, he said. Could she meet for coffee, just to chat? Emily hesitated, but agreed. What harm could it do? They met at a cozy cafe copyright downtown, the kind with steaming mugs and the scent of fresh pastries. Alexander arrived with Lily in tow, the girl shyly hiding behind his leg. Over coffee, he shared more. His life as CEO was demanding of board meetings, late nights, but Lily kept him grounded. That accident made me realize how fragile it all is, he admitted. And you saved me. Emily blushed. It was just blood. No, he said firmly, it was kindness, pure and simple. As they talked, Emily opened up a little about her mom's illness, the debts. Not everything, but enough. Alexander listened, his face thoughtful. Lily drew pictures on a napkin, giggling when Emily complimented her art. The meetings became regular. Coffee turned to walks by the river, bundled against the cold. Lily warmed to Emily, sharing stories of school and her favorite books. Alexander revealed his world at the sleek office in the city, the pressures of running a company. But he was human, vulnerable, a single dad navigating fatherhood alone. One snowy afternoon, as they strolled through the park, Lily tugged Emily's hand. You're nice, like mommy, she said innocently. Emily's eyes met Alexander's, a spark there. Gentle, unhurried. The twist came softly, like the first flake of snow. Alexander confessed he had looked into her situation discreetly, through hospital records. He knew about the debts, the struggles. I want to help, he said. Not because I owe you, but because I care. Emily pulled back slightly. I don't need charity. It's not charity, he replied, his voice steady. It's partnership. My company has a program for employee support, but more than that. Emily, I've fallen for you, your strength, your heart. She stared at him, the world quiet around them. Snowflakes danced in the air, and time seemed to pause. It wasn't dramatic, no grand gestures, just truth, laid bare. Emily took a deep breath. I feel it too, but slowly. We take it slow, he nodded, smiling. Slow is good. From there, things unfolded naturally. Alexander helped clear her debts, and not with a check, but by connecting her to resources, a better job at his company's medical division if she wanted. But Emily chose to stay in Willow Creek, close to her roots. They dated quietly, building a life together. Lily adored her, and Emily found a family she never expected. Spring arrived, melting the snow into blooming flowers. One evening, under a sky painted with sunset hues, Alexander proposed by the river. A simple ring, nothing flashy. Will you be part of our family? He asked, Lily holding a bouquet of wildflowers. Tears in her eyes, Emily said yes. The wedding was small, in the town church, with nurses and colleagues cheering. Emily walked down the aisle in a white dress, her heart full. Years later, as they sat on their porch, Lily now 10 and laughing with friends, Emily reflected. From a struggling nurse to a loved wife and stepmom, life had turned. It wasn't about the money or status. It was the connection, the gentle twist of fate that brought them together. Alexander squeezed her hand. You saved me that night, he whispered. And you saved me every day since, she replied. Their story was one of quiet strength, emotional depth woven through everyday moments. In Willow Creek, where the river still whispered, they built a home filled with love, proving that sometimes, the greatest rewards come from the simplest acts of kindness.